In this video, I will be talking about React Router DOM. I will be working with a clean Create React App application created with npx. If you don't have an application yet and need to go through the process, click on the suggested video above, where I go over creating your first React application. I will navigate to the directory where I have created the application and will install React Router DOM with the yarn add command. Once the process has finished, the React Router DOM dependency should exist in the package.json. I will open the index.js file inside the src folder, and first I'm going to import browser router from React Router DOM. And for convention, we will do the import as to rename that component to just router. Then we need to wrap the app component with that router that we just brought in. Now the app component has access to the browser's history. Let's check if that is true. I will open the app component that is in app.js, and I will bring a React Router DOM hook called useHistory. I will run useHistory to try and get that history object to which we allegedly have access to. And then I will log into the console. If I go to the browser's console, I can see the history object. Perfect. We have proved that indeed we have now access to the history object. Now there are different ways to trigger a route change. I will go over two approaches. Since I have already pulled in the history object, I will first trigger a route change with it. I will start by removing the anchor tag from the component and replacing it with a button. The button's text will be to first route. The UI should look like this. Of course, the styles for the button are not great, but we are not concerned about that at the moment. Next, I will add a click handler to the button called handleClick. I will declare that handler in line 11. When the user clicks the button, we will use the history object and push the new route to the browser's history. I called the route first-route, but it can be called banana if you like. Let's try it out. I'll go to the UI and click the to first route button, and we can see that the browser's URL updated and now includes first route. We are now able to trigger a route change by clicking a button, but our application doesn't know anything about that route. We have not specified what should happen when the location is first route. I will now add that route to specify what I want the application to do when we navigate to that URL. I'll go back to index.js where we wrap the application with the router. I will import two new components from React Router DOM, route and switch. And to make things simpler, I will remove the app component from line 11 and add the switch component. Inside that switch, I'll add the first route. In that first route, I need to specify the path that it will be using. And because we removed the app component, I will say that when the location of the browser is at root or just /, it should render the app component. That takes care of having a landing page like we had before. But what about the route we called first route, which is now not the first route we added? Let's add that one too. I will copy and paste that route and just change the path to say first route. And since we are passing a component that the route will render, I will pass an inline functional component that will render a div that says I am the first route. Let me go back to the UI and check how things are going. First, I expect the app component to be present because we specified a route for the root location. I can see that is working fine. My second expectation is that if I click the to first route button, the URL will update and I should see my inline component. But wait, the URL did update, but I still see my app component. What the? The explanation for this behavior is in the way the switch component checks for a match. Let's take a quick look at that. Our current location is first route, and the switch component will compare with the routes we have available. It will try to match the first one by checking if the location includes that route's path. In other words, does the location include the /path? And well, the answer to that is yes, there is a match. The location includes that / at the beginning of the route, and therefore the switch decides to render that route. How do we fix this? Fortunately, the fix for that is very simple. The route component lets us pass a Boolean value if we want the path to be exact. I will pass that exact property to the root route. Now when the switch tries matching the first route, does the location include exactly /? It won't be a match. But when it compares with the second one, it will be. I'll jump back to the UI and try that to first route button again. And perfect. It takes me to that inline component that renders I am the first route. If you want to move that inline functional component out, you can declare it before the render method. And then pass it like we did with the app component. I will quickly talk about the second approach I mentioned. I'll create another route, and this time I'll give it a more natural name like about. But I'll start by creating the component this time. In line 10, I'll declare a functional component called about, and this component will render an h1 header with the text about page. I will duplicate one of the routes, but change the path to be about, and the component to use the about component. Now it is the opposite from the first route. We have a route, but not a trigger. I'll go to the app.js file and add it. However, this time I will import a new component from React Router DOM, and that is link. Now I can add the link component after the button with the text about. And in order for it to know where to link to, I will add a property called to that points to the about page. Shall we try this? Let's check it out. Going to the UI once again, I can see both the button and the link. Behind the scenes, the link component renders an anchor tag, and thus its link styles. Now if I click the about link, it will take me to the about page. You might have already realized that there is no link to go back to where you were before. The only way at the moment is to click the browser's back button. Well, try adding a new button to the about page component using the methods described in this video. And let me know in the comments below if it worked for you and how you liked it. Or join me next week to learn some other interesting React Router DOM hooks. That is it for this video. If you found it useful, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you for watching and see you next time.